Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, welcome to the 10th annual Champions Appreciation Evening. It's a pleasure to gather here virtually. Thank you for all making the time to show up this evening to acknowledge the incredible work done by these impressive young professionals in the public service. Bienvenue à la 10e soirée annuelle de reconnaissance des champions. C'est un plaisir de se réunir ici virtuellement avec des fonctionnaires qui ont preuve d'un tel engagement. Merci à toutes et tous d'avoir pris le temps d'ici de ce soir pour saluer le travail phénoménal accompli par ces jeunes professionnels impressionnants dans la fonction publique. I would like to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples of the lands we are on today before we begin this conversation. We were keen to move forward each other in our spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Justine, I'm passing it on to you.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see all of you. I'm Justine Reynolds, co-chair for the NCR YPN. Super excited to have you all here with us tonight and to celebrate all of our contributions. Although we can't be together in person, I hope that we can make tonight fun. I hope everyone has a glass of wine or champagne or a hot beverage to celebrate and enjoy throughout the evening. So please take a moment to do so if you haven't already. Let's make it fun together. Although we can't be together in person like last year and hopefully next year, fingers crossed, let's take the advantage of taking some selfies. If you dressed up, hopefully some of you dressed up to do something out of the ordinary, change from your pajamas as your usual work outfits. So please take the time to take a selfie, post it on Twitter. You can also email it to us at our NCR YPN Gmail address. And please use the hashtag CAESAC2020. We'll also make sure that this is posted in the chat so you can remember to do so later. We're here tonight to recognize the commitment and strong support of the departmental YPN champions and to celebrate the significant progress and work that has been done over the past year. It's important for us to recognize and highlight all the good that has been done and that has been happening before and during the pandemic. Nous sommes ici ce soir pour célébrer l'engagement et le soutien des champions du réseau des jeunes professionnels et pour célébrer le travail qui a été accompli au cours de l'année passée. Il est important pour nous pour souligner tout ce qui s'est fait avant et pendant la pandémie. Cam, back to you.
Tonight, champions, YPN members, and departmental networks will be honored, celebrated for their contribution to the young professionals community, and exemplifying a culture of professional development and growth for public servants working in the Government of Canada. Ce soir, les champions, les membres de RJP et les réseaux ministériels seront mis à l'honneur et célébrés pour leur contribution à la communauté des jeunes professionnels parce qu'ils incarnent une culture de croissance et de perfectionnement professionnel des fonctionnaires du gouvernement du Canada.
We would like to communicate that we received an overwhelming amount of nominations. We were really blown away by all the nominations we received. So we thank you all sincerely for this. It was very difficult to determine the winners with such strong applications, and we would like to congratulate all of you, regardless of whether you're walking away with an award tonight. Every day, the Young Professional Networks work to facilitate unique collaborations, try innovative new ideas, and encourage the future leaders of the public service to push the boundaries of what's possible. And this is what we're celebrating here tonight. Nous aimerions signaler que nous avons reçu un nombre impressionnant de candidatures et nous vous en remercions. Avec des candidatures aussi solides, il est très difficile de déterminer les gagnants et nous aimerions vous adresser nos félicitations à tous. We would have loved to give an award to everyone if we could, so thank you for your understanding and congratulations to all.
Few brief housekeeping items from me. We would like to remind everyone that their cameras and mics are disabled in order to ensure the smooth running of the event, and so you can look at mine and Justine's faces for most of the event. Just kidding. Please note that we'll be using Slido shortly, so if you need to grab another device, I'm going to give you some time to do so, and do so while I'm talking. We encourage folks to use the chat and question and answer function throughout the evening to interact and ask questions from our keynote speakers, from our keynote speaker, Tim Pettipas, the Assistant Secretary of the Cabinet, and our DM champion, Kelly Gillis. Quelques points de régie interne. Nous aimerions vous rappeler que vos caméras et vos micros sont désactivés pour assurer le bon déroulement de l'événement. Veuillez noter que nous utiliserons bientôt Slido. Vous pouvez souhaiter aller chercher un autre appareil pour l'utiliser vous-même. Nous vous encourageons à utiliser la fonction de clavardage et de quelques questions-réponses tout au long de la soirée pour interagir et poser des questions après l'allocation de conférence et d'honneur. Tim passe que nous.
So now we'll just run through a brief overview of the agenda. You would all have received this in the calendar invite. We'll just run through it quickly. So we'll have an introduction and opening remarks by Kelly Gillis, introduction et mot d'ouverture de Kelly Gillis, DM of Infrastructure Canada and our very own NCR YPN champion. We'll then run through a quick, fun icebreaker activity on Slido, as Cam mentioned, activité brise-glace sur Slido. And then without further ado, we will turn it over to our keynote speaker, who we're very excited to have, Tim Petipa, Assistant Secretary to the Cabinet for Public Service Renewal. And then we will finish off, of course, with the long-awaited award presentation, remise des prix, that will be facilitated by myself, Cam, and Kelly. And then we will finish off with closing remarks, mot de la fin de Kelly Gillis. Thank you.
We would like to give an opportunity to give a special thank you to our champions, who we will be presenting with today. They've also gone above and beyond for right now, especially during a difficult time. Without the support of our champions, we'd be limited to what we are able to offer public servants across the various departments, and we are continuously thankful for your support and give the extra push you need to excel. Apologies, my marks in French. This is me missing my speaking points. Nous aimerions profiter à cette occasion pour remercier particulièrement nos champions de RJP de toujours et faire preuve de nos dévouements exceptionnels, surtout dans les temps difficiles. Sans le soutien appuyé de nos champions, nous serons limités dans ce que nous pouvons offrir aux fonctionnaires des différents ministères. Nous vous sommes perpétuellement reconnaissants pour votre soutien qui nous donne du supplément de vitalité dont nous avons besoin d'exceller.
So just briefly before we turn it over to Kelly, we just want to mention again and reiterate that the role of our champions within the Federal Public Service is so crucial, and it allows us as a network to push the boundaries of what's possible and to challenge long-standing assumptions of how the public service works. There's nothing you can do that can't be done is our musical slogan for this evening. And it really resonated with us because this demonstrates that the uniqueness and beauty of the YPNs, in the sense that our networks have the freedom and flexibility to push the boundaries and create a public service that's engaging, meaningful, and full of opportunities. This evening is our time to acknowledge a few hardworking champions and a few YPN networks that work to make this all happen. Thank you for your time, and we will now pass the floor over to Kelly. Kelly, over to you.
Good evening, bonne soirée, and thank you all for attending the 10th Annual Championships Appreciation event. I'm so grateful that so many people could come on our online ceremony tonight. We have to do things differently, as Cam and Justine had mentioned. Pendant que j'ai le micro virtuel, je tiens à remercier tous les jeunes professionnels qui ont travaillé pour faire du Canada un meilleur endroit. And to all of our champions, I want to thank you for the work you do to make life better for young professionals in your department. Now, I'd like to extend a special shout out as well to our keynote speaker, Tim Petipa, who is a key player in the work we do in professional networks and advancing government priorities related to Beyond 2020 and public service renewal. We're all very busy every day, but it's really important to take time to say thank you and to show our appreciation, and to thank our young professionals for choosing a career path in the public service and recognizing the difference that they're doing every day. Particulièrement en cette période difficile, les actions et les responsabilités des fonctionnaires sont devenues de plus en plus essentielles pour le Canadien afin d'assurer le bien-être à court et à long terme. We know that there are many future DMs and ADMs in this room, and we want to make sure you are ready to take on whatever challenges that you're going to be facing in the future. And by getting involved in your department, either through YPNs or other fora, it's just a great way to learn, to grow, and to contribute. And as we work remotely, feeling alone and isolated can be really hard. So it's another really great reason to say thank you for supporting this network. C'est pourquoi nous organisons cette soirée de reconnaissance pour les champions pour reconnaître les jeunes professionnels et, en fin de compte, les soutenir afin de nous puissions les aider à tirer le maximum de leur passage dans la fonction publique. This past year has been an opportunity to exemplify a culture of professional development and growth for public servants in these really challenging times, and really show what the Government of Canada has been able to contribute. So with all that said, I want to recognize key initiatives and young professionals who have gone above and beyond to make the public service an amazing place to work, even in these challenging and difficult times. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope you enjoy the evening. Back to you, Cam and Justine.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Perfect.
We're going to now turn it over for a quick Slido game. So we will get that queued up. Just give us a moment to allow that to get queued up on the screen. You would have all received the link in the calendar invite, whether it was from Kelly's office or from us for the YPN members. And we will also be posting it in the chat right now. And shortly it will be up on the screen. You'll be able to see the code. So if you have a cell phone handy, you can use it on your phone. That will be easiest, so you can still watch on the screen. But if you only have your laptop, that's also doable as well. So we'll just give it a moment to get queued up, and then we'll get started.
Hi, it's Elizabeth here. I'm trying to actually share my screen so you can see the Slido results, but I get a message saying host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Sorry, go ahead. That's my fault. I fixed that, Elizabeth.
All right, I'll try now.
Thank you. Oh no.
All right. So, what special talents do you have? Quel talent caché possédez-vous? So far, we've got talent identification and development, baking. Baking has definitely taken flight. Still baking. Perfect high fives. I believe that comes from Kat. I would not be surprised. Wow. And I'm definitely a bunch of interesting answers here. Sleeping with my eyes open. Perfect winged eyeliner. I unfortunately don't have that one. Yeah. Christmas lights, multitasking, networking. That's a great one, especially for here. Useless Simpsons trivia. Oh, you're not the only one there. My boss has it too. Seems like we got a lot of Christmas lights experts, briefing note experts, juggling violin, vegan cooking. I guess we may move on to the next question. If you could live anywhere in a year, where would it, in the world for a year, where would it be? Si vous pouvez vivre n'importe où dans le monde pendant un an, où serait-il? Où serait-ce? I don't know if this is the year for Italy, but I understand. I am sympathetic to the country. We'll see. I do my best, Chantal. Merci. I'm a big fan of the Philippines. I'm a big fan of Trinidad and Spain. PEI as well. All right. Seems like Costa Rica is the winner. Or at least that's the one I believe I chose. So we'll see. Seems like most people chose a beach. Wow. All right.
It's so funny to see all of the answers because we can clearly tell who some of them are. Wow. I'm loving all the soft skills that sort of are
coming out of this. Capacity for judgment also. Perfect. I like Treef. Whoever suggested that one. Interesting. I appreciate everyone's commitments. All right. Elizabeth, is this our last question? Thank you so much. Elizabeth put a huge amount of work into that, and I thought it was a very educational piece. Big fan of the idea of empathy and active listening being core skills for public servants, particularly as we say, vous avez deux oreilles et seulement une bouche. So listen twice as much as you speak. I think it's an insightful lesson for all public servants. Now we've completed that. I believe my job here is to pass off the floor to Tim Petipas for his remarks. Tim, if you want to get on the camera and show yourself. There you are. Can you hear okay?
Yeah, you got me there.
Perfect, I do. Thank you so much for taking the time.
A privilege.
Okay.
So you want me to jump straight in?
Sure, I'll just pull myself away from the camera.
It's a deal. Okay, so thanks very much, Cameron. I really like the icebreaker. I've grown to appreciate those more and more over the years, to be honest. I find I end up learning a fair bit. I like the best advice on listen first. I'll be honest, it's something I'm trying to practice a fair bit myself. I really like the response on the dream job where it said I'm in it. I think that's someone that's going to have a satisfactory career. And in terms of talents, a whole lot of baking. And I don't know if that's the supply side. I've mastered the demand side of that over the most recent number of months, I can tell you, on the eating side. So that's kind of a fun way to open up for me to be able to see some of that. So je vais commencer par dire que je suis toujours très contente de participer à ce type d'événement qui célèbre les accomplissements de nos collègues. Toujours. Je suis parfois inquiet, je dirais que nous sommes trop humbles en tant que fonctionnaires pour célébrer nos succès et sans aucun doute, récemment, on en a beaucoup. Alors, félicitations pour vos efforts. Et dans ce contexte, je dirais que ça m'a donné beaucoup de plaisir de constater la fierté de nos collègues qui ont partagé leurs histoires concernant les façons dont ils ont soutenu les citoyennes pendant la pandémie lors des Fed Talks, les Fed de Reload, la semaine dernière. And I expect yours is a community that that would have taken in parts of the Fed talks, unless you avoided Justin's social media blitz. And for those that didn't, it's really I mean, I can best sort of position it as a virtual extract of what we've commonly known as the Innovation Fair in a bricks and mortar context. And those that didn't, I'd actually recommend, if we haven't already, we will have all the recordings available. And it's hard not to watch some of our colleagues talk about how they sort of adapted to serve citizens over the many recent months without having a real sense of pride in the work we do in the public service. So I'd recommend take advantage. So a musical journey. I love your awards theme. I really, really do. It's fun. I was kind of confused when I was looking at the awards, and then I kind of reverse engineered back to the musical journey. And I'd say I kind of feel like I've been on a musical journey of my own over the past months, and sort of in relative isolation, working in the hallway that you can see here. And it's kind of allowed me to branch out, I'd say, and kind of explore a more diversified playlist. I've been running off the same playlist on my phone forever, heavily dominated by blues, by folk, by lots of Rolling Stones, which kind of gives you the demographic cut for me if you hadn't figured that out already. But I mean, I've often thought of changing it up, but it's familiar. I kind of know what I'm going to get from my playlist. I'm kind of lazy at the same time, so it feels like a bit of a bother and a burden to put energy into seeking out a much more diverse selection of music. And by and large, I'd say that it's staying in my comfort zone on my playlist hasn't really let me down. So it gets me to the ski hill and back, and I'm fairly content with what I'm listening to on both ends of that trip. But I can tell you that by putting energy into very purposely seeking out new music by new artists that I would have easily been overlooking, I think, over the past number of years, my listening experience is exponentially better. And my favorites now, I'd say, are more populated with Post Malone than Rolling Stones. But more interestingly, to be honest, for me, I'd actually enjoy my old music better now when I hit it up on shuffle, when it's mixed in with a more diverse selection of other artists that I hadn't been listening to. So I share that only to say sort of, hey, who knew? By fundamentally increasing the diversity of what I was listening to, it kind of improved the performance of all of the artists in the end user, at least in my experience, which I desperately needed sitting in this same house an awful lot. So I say that to say, like, I don't need to share the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion with your community, as I expect I probably have much more to learn from you than you do. I was actually speaking to a number of executive development programs over the last number of days, including earlier today. Boy, I seem to be losing some performance there. And I've been asking the same question a lot, is about sponsorship of employees. And it's not a particularly profound question, I'll tell you right away, but it creates a very interesting conversation I've been noticing. And so the question is nothing more than, like, who are you currently sponsoring? Because you are sponsoring people all the time. And people have a hard time sort of reaching that conclusion. I just asked them to think of, try thinking about who you may have brought over from your earlier organization once you arrived at a new organization, because you can be pretty assured that you are sponsoring them. And then I think once you've identified who you're sponsoring, to reflect a little bit on, do they think like me? Do they act like me? Do they intervene in meetings like I do? Do they assess risks similarly? Do they write the same? Do they look the same? And I think if you ask those questions and you come up with a lot of yeses, you may be listening to the same old playlist. And I think we really do need to reflect on that a fair bit. And I don't think sponsorship is limited to senior public servants in any means. I think which peers' ideas we get behind, who we share information and insights with, and informal coaching over lunch. I think these are all forms of getting in behind and supporting and sponsoring individuals in our organization. So as leaders, and I'm guessing everybody in this virtual room tonight is a leader, I think we all have an obligation to get uncomfortable, to stay uncomfortable, to do things differently, and to expect the same of others and those we work with and for. And I do worry about that a little bit, because I think it could be an easy time to fall back to our comfort zone, to our existing playlists, where there, at a time where there simply is so much discomfort in the world more generally. So speaking of doing things differently, I'm not sure we've witnessed, at least in my opinion, a time that provides such opportunity to think of new ways of doing the business that we proudly do as public servants. I've personally never had so many colleagues sharing with me how, what was deemed fundamentally impossible for years became possible overnight. Moving from ideas to implementation in a heartbeat, iterating live on policy development, on program design, on enablement of programs, from paper to digital, from boardrooms to Teams calls. It's fascinating when we empower the edges of the organization, just what all we can do. And I think that's because we have a ton of talent across the organization that is ready to stand up. So I share that to say, take agency, think deeply about the work we do, as I know you do, advance ideas and collaborate as you do in the advancement of those ideas, because I think there's a real opportunity for us to embrace some new ideas that perhaps we haven't quite found yet. And I'd say leverage the enterprise in helping you move those ideas forward. Our current Beyond 2020 Public Service Renewal Agenda, it was built largely with the express purpose of creating a common language and a support community to help drive outcome-based change. You know what those outcomes are. I mean, really, this is around greater agility, deeper inclusion, and a better equipped public service. And I thought the clerk put it so well when he was just saying that who would have thought we'd be living agile, inclusive, and equipped to the extent we are over the last number of months. And I think it's a very difficult and challenging time for many of our families and colleagues, but it's also an opportunity to reflect on how do we change and do things differently. And I do think we need to be deliberate in determining which of those new behaviors and approaches to how we do the work we do are we going to want to kind of harden into the fabric of how we work in the public service, which may look different in different parts of the public service in different parts of the country. Because I do think we are capable of sliding backwards to, from that new posture to something that maybe seems more familiar. And I would say you have an important role to play as individuals and as groups of individuals to help the institution keep leaning forward as we move into the coming months, particularly when we maybe start to look a little more fondly on how things were done all of 10 months ago in reality. And when I think of public service renewal, when I think of Beyond 2020 in my little world of the mindsets and behaviors we need to model, I very genuinely, I think of those that are within the young professional network that I get the opportunity to engage with fairly often across the country as well. So, you're at the core of public service renewal. I've witnessed that since the day I took this job. Et je dirais que quand je pense au sujet de la main d'œuvre de l'avenir, j'y pense en deux volets pour moi. Premièrement, des aspects de base de comment nous ferons nos travail dans l'avenir. Et deuxièmement, comment on va gérer et diriger dans l'avenir. And so just very quickly, I mean, starting with this notion of sort of the baseline attributes of how we would do our business in the future. My sense is we will be increasingly outcome-based. I think we're on that path and we'll keep going. We will be more data-driven. We will know the dimensions of our problems we're solving based on better lines of evidence. We will determine how to measure progress based on the data-driven model. We will be more digital. I mean, we've watched that leap forward. And then I think certainly, slick interfaces, but I think also just this notion of user-centric design, working with citizens, iterative design, project management, more a sort of a core competency than a function likely. Co-development hardwired into how we develop and how we implement. Tighter integration of sort of policy, program, and service design, and the enablement of that, I think is an exciting part of, I think, a future path that will be there. We're seeing the power in these practices, hands down. I'm confident that tide will keep rising in terms of some of the sort of attributes of how we work. I think the second part around how we lead and manage, I think that will stretch us. I think that's going to be an interesting path forward. I mean, starting even with, what does a team look like these days in outcome-based work models? Will deliberate employee mobility be, less the exception and more the rule? Future leaders, as I was saying, I think will be those that leverage the enterprise and naturally move talent and information. And I think those that do, from what I see, get way more back. I mean, that's just a really good return on investment. Empowerment will be a critical part, I think, of the future of public service. And I think that means trust will be important. But I really do think we need to remember that there's kind of a thin line between empowerment and abandonment. And I think in a virtual work model, we really need to keep that in the forefront of our minds. And knowing where that line is for different peers and colleagues and employees, because it will be in a different place, I think, for many people. The workforce of the future will be more diverse. It will have less harassment and it will have less discrimination, in my view, because we will have leaders that prioritize and know how to ensure that. And I expect many of those leaders are part of the network that you're part of today. I'm pretty sure we will assess and manage risk quite differently moving forward. I think we will fundamentally recognize that sort of no change does not equal no risk. And I could go on a fair bit, but I won't. It's a truncated list. And I know we're all looking to the future, and I think we all should be thinking of what our list might be. I can assure you that there's very many people much smarter and wiser than me that probably have a much better list. Find that list as well. What I do like about my list, though, is that very little of it requires more money or more people or more policy shifts. Rather, I think it requires self-reflection. I think it requires a number of the things I saw coming up on your list earlier around empathy and listening. So maybe just let me conclude by saying thanks very much for the opportunity to speak here today. Thanks for the energy and the contribution to public service renewal that the network brings. Thanks for stepping up to join and participate in networks that are just beyond your regular work. And thanks for sort of the intangibles that come with that, which is a lot of support and care for those within the network and communities, probably never as relevant as now. And I think I heard this at the beginning when I was coming in, but congratulations to those nominated, and really congratulations to those that nominated. I just think it's such an important part of what we do in the public service. So I've probably taken maybe even a little more time than I should have, but I appreciate the opportunity to at least share some thoughts from the public service renewal perspective.
Thank you so much, Tim. We definitely did not take too much time. We would love to hear from you for longer. We do have one question, and we may have a couple more that come in if you're all right with taking a question now.
Oh, sure.
The first one we have is, I find it more challenging to engage and build these relationships with COVID. There's a lot less opportunities for informal networking. Any advice for us as young public servants?
Yeah, so I would say I share your conundrum. It is harder to connect. I can tell you that I have the pleasure of having some individuals on my team that have been working virtually for some long time and have sort of figured out the mechanisms and means to do that. I mean, part of it is being part of the sort of networks that you're part of, joining up into other communities. it takes a special effort. That's what I have found. I really like the model of the virtual calls. I find they kind of flatten the hierarchy out a whole lot when we have the virtual calls, but I also do find that it allows for a little less of that connectivity. I would strongly recommend reaching out to individuals. I have found there is no one that is uninterested right now. I think there's a lot of people that are feeling that same disconnection, and I think sometimes it's just the first to move, the first to create that conversation and dialogue. But be a joiner. Join as many networks as you can. I think they are a vibrant part right now of how we're going to stay connected, and reach out past the region you're in. And quite frankly, if you'd like to follow up more with me around some of the other approaches, and I have some great people on my team that have been, on our Flex GC group, that have been finding new ways to, to create the virtual coffees in a way that feels natural. I was stumbling with it a bit myself at the beginning.
Yeah, I was Chris, I may just, sorry, Tim, Chris just posted sort of a thing in the chat about not slipping back into old habits. We need young public servants to lead us to youngish ones. I guess I may probe you a little bit, try and tease out what's on your list, right? If that's okay. I don't know if there's any specific examples you could speak to, but I think it'd be helpful for everyone here to have a little hope on what those are.
So, I think first and foremost, we've managed to move ideas from the individuals who create them to final decisions at a pace that we are not accustomed to. And I think we need to ask ourselves really hard, did that idea really miss a whole lot of improvement along the way? And I think our answer is going to be no. I think we need to sustain our willingness to put in play ideas and right down to programs of quite significance, with a recognition. I mean, we need to be responsible. But I think, that 80% rule is one that we need to get pretty comfortable with. And I think we need to, we had an opportunity to recognize that, when the risk threshold of not getting something down seemed to trump others. I think we need to keep the characteristics of that alive. We need to think deeply about our governance models. As we currently have them, and what role are they playing? Are they playing roles of accelerating ideas or sort of debating ideas to some outcome? I think we absolutely need to welcome the advantages of a virtual approach to work, what that brings us on greater diversity, what that brings us in terms of increased productivity. I think we've found our way past some questions, I think, that we've struggled with for years around our ability to trust, empower, and rely on the coaching and mentoring we've given our employees across the public service to be productive because we had to. I think we need to find a way to sustain that moving forward without any question. And like even on I think we need to, one of the things I think that we've benefited from this is a deep appreciation of the enablers that, the work that's done by our technology folks to equip us to be successful. That's hard work. And I think there's an appreciation that's been created that we need to hold on to. And if anything, we moved people. I moved people out of my organization in a heartbeat when I saw that there was a deeper requirement for those talents elsewhere. Shame on us if we stop that. And that's my notion of, I think an enterprise mindset, people come into the public service with it, and sometimes we lose it along the way. I think we have an opportunity to re-engage it. And, I was saying to someone the other day that I was never really big on networking. I don't think I was ever super comfortable with getting, hanging around at the back of the room like anyone else, I guess. But I look back and I think, I was networking all along. If it's defined just as supporting other people's ideas. And what I have found is that, and not just yourself, but letting your talent move, like not just letting it go when it's finally leaving, but like getting behind it and move it. And we did that. We really, truly, I think we did that quite well. I think we should be proud of a lot of things we did. And I think the pride will allow them to stick. so there's a lot of them, but how we look at risk, how we look at moving our people, and how we look at these opportunities, not just around virtual, but other opportunities to welcome new voices into the public service, and to find, to get more comfortable with national contributions coming from individuals working right across the country.
Thank you, and I echo your ability to also the new ability to engage with people more easily right across the country. Justine, I believe, is taking the next question.
Yes, thank you. Next question is, I wanted to see who it's from. So it's from an employee at PSBC. Would love to know what keeps you up at night right now.
So I'm kind of fortunate. This not much keeps me up at night. I can tell you what. So if anything, and you know, I'm not saying this to stick to a message, but I worry a lot that we're going to miss windows of opportunity, and so it does keep me up at night because I'm working a lot to see how I can support others that have leadership roles to try and make sure that we take advantage of opportunities for change, to solidify existing changes. We were saying, I worry that we have a large system. You know, it's like this giant holding company of all these large corporations right across the country with the largest employee base in Canada. And so it takes a while for change to find its way across the public service. And I think in certain areas, if there's something that would be keeping me up, it would be, are we doing everything we can to build the competencies and provide the supports to middle managers to be able to lead a lot of change, and particularly change around the composition of the public service moving forward. An approach to, it's the small things that matter to me, like, you know, an approach to running our meetings where we invite the right people in at the very beginning, where we welcome new voices, where we create an environment, not just of having different people at the table, but a safe space to be able to express ideas. And that worries me because I think we will be irrelevant moving forward if we don't get the legitimacy of a strong input on our policy design, our service delivery. So those are some of the pieces.
Thanks, Tim. I guess my job is to ask you the final question. I'll ask you just one sentence answer because I know we don't want to take too much of your time, or at least sort of have you speaking up forever. Any good books you would recommend?
That's interesting. Connect the Dots is one of the ones I read a little while ago that I really, really liked. And I enjoyed it. My other book, though, is a fiction book that I'm halfway through where the crawdads sing. So I don't know if fiction's allowed to be brought into this conversation, but Connect the Dots is a really good read, and it really does dig into the notion of innovation and the core ingredients. You know, there we go. Thank you. I read it a little while ago, but my comment just being, and I will sign off for you, but is that, you know, I really, what I liked about it is that it doesn't really set innovation up as an outcome, but it really does look at what are the ingredients to get it right. And it's a good read.
I think we've been asked what your fiction, where the crawdads sing, I think is the other one, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm only halfway through it, so don't spoil the ending.
Okay, no promises. I haven't read it myself, but I'm a big fan of fiction to be able to inspire nonfiction sort of actions. So I don't think fiction's out of the ability to recommend. But that's pretty much it, I think, for questions. Unless you have any parting messages, Tim, we want to just personally thank you for your time and thank you for taking the opportunity to speak here to a bunch of young professionals who I'm sure no doubt appreciate it. And we haven't given them the opportunity to speak, but I'm sure there would be roars of applause if they're at that.
So So thank you so much, Cameron and Justine, and it was a pleasure. And I just appreciate the efforts of the network, and I always appreciate the opportunity when I get to meet more sort of one-on-one with individuals. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Justine, I've lost my space in the script. Is it you or is it me next to introduce the final
It is my turn to introduce the award ceremony. So I just wanted to mention one comment in the chat from Nancy. She said, great messages, Tim. Regional inclusion, having a voice, and shaping your workplace. We need you to shape a public service that you feel allows you all to be contributors. Votre voix compte. Faites-la entendre. So I just wanted to wrap up with that, as I thought it really summarized his speech. So we've all been waiting for the award ceremony. Without further ado, we'll get started. So we will invite Kelly to join us back. I know you're all excited, getting ready to hear who's won. The first award, so Marcella will please open the PowerPoint. Thank you so much. The first award is the Icon Award. The Icon Award recognizes a champion who has shown unwavering support for the network and empowered the team of volunteers to achieve their individual and common goals. Prix d'Icon reconnaît un champion qui a manifesté un soutien défectible au réseau et qui a permis à l'équipe des bénévoles d'atteindre leurs objectifs individuels et communs.
À toi l'enfant qui vient, je précède tes pas. Je murmure ton nom dans le souffle de ma voix. Je t'offrirai le monde, toi, que je ne connais pas. Je t'ouvre grand mon cœur, comme on ouvre ses mains.
So the Icon Award is being awarded to the Public Service Commission's champion, Stéphanie Poliquin, the Emerging Leaders Network. Le Prix d'Icon, Stéphanie Poliquin, Commission de la fonction publique et championne de réseau des leaders émergentes. Congratulations.
Stéphanie Poliquin is a golden champion. She is an unwavering supporter of the network and its co-chairs, ensuring that they are empowered to make their projects possible, and is a strong advocate for the network and its projects with senior management. Since the network has limited resources, Stéphanie financially sponsors the participation of its members in professional development activities. She was particularly involved in the network to enable the funding, hosting, and success of the first ever government games. En plus d'ajouter ses tâches à son travail déjà occupé, elle a demandé à tout son cabinet de contribuer à la planification et la réalisation des jeux du gouvernement. Elle a dépassé le rôle entendu d'un champion pour s'assurer que les jeux puissent voir le jour et a même insisté pour être maître de cérémonie, tellement elle était enthousiaste. Elle est s'assurée de mobiliser et de communiquer régulièrement avec les champions des autres réseaux et le président de la CFP, champion des yeux, Patrick Borby. Overall, Stéphanie has empowered the network to flourish through innovation. Thank you, Stéphanie, and a virtual round of applause to you.
My turn to read the next award. So the next, la prochaine chose est the Symphony Award, recognizes a specific young professional network that has been consistently active and strives to push the envelope. Le Prix Symphonie reconnaît un RJP spécifique qui a toujours été actif et s'est efforcé de repousser les limites.
So the Symphony Award is being awarded to Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada's YPN, Chelsea Gerard and Quaymer Hamid. Prix Symphonie, c'est pour Chelsea Gerard et Quaymer Hamid, Réseau des jeunes professionnels du agriculture et agroalimentaire Canada. Well done.
Thank you. Okay. This past year, AAFC's YPN has continually pushed the envelope to create opportunities for its members. They established strategic goals for the network to create a community of engaged young professionals and to foster AFSC's young professionals to contribute to departmental objectives and wider public service. We now have 9 members that work collaboratively with AFC's YPN. These volunteer positions give young professionals new opportunities to grow and expand their skill set. It's also given our YPN the expertise and power needed to create career growth and networking opportunities for our members. To name a few: Lunch and Learn, socials, GCWCC, monthly emails, and the government games. En fait, le RJP est déterminé à ouvrir pour la diversité et inclusion de tous nos membres. Nous sommes un membre actif de la communauté intervenante et de diversité de notre ministère. Et ce titre, nous encourageons les jeunes professionnels à participer au réseau des minorités visibles de AAC et à en faire la promotion. Thank you, thanks, and once again, congratulations to Kamer and Chelsea Gerard, the AFC's Young Professionals Network. Félicitations.
The next award is our Pop Superstar Award. This recognizes an individual that consistently ensured their network was on track and played an integral role in doing so. Prix Superstar de la Pop. Reconnaître une personne qui a toujours veillé à ce que son réseau soit sur la bonne voie et a joué un rôle essentiel à cet regard. Music, please.
Mais tu vas te faire défoncer. Tu aimerais faire ta mère veut te la faire aussi. Le juge voudrait te faire. Tout le monde te fera aussi.
Le prix Superstar de la Pop, c'est Maud Laporte-Roy du réseau des leaders émergents de la Commission de la fonction publique. So the Pop Superstar Award is for the Public Service Commission's Maud Laporte-Roy Emerging Leaders Network. Congratulations.
Maud Laporte has led the Public Service Commission's network for the past 2 years and has been a strong support for the NCR YPN throughout this time. She has gone above and beyond for the network's members and is known as a strong collaborator and problem solver. Elle a toujours des objectifs ambitieux, parmi lesquels la création d'une série d'événements d'un mois, augmentation de 50% du nombre des membres et la création d'une nouvelle image de marque et d'un site web. Elle prend soin de donner aux membres des possibilités de perfectionnement sans pareil. Merci beaucoup, Maud. Bravo.
Merci. Now it's up to me to the next big song award. Recognized an initiative or event that was well aligned with Beyond 2020's vision and the Government of Canada's push for integration. Prix Prochaine Grande Chanson. Reconnaître une initiative ou un événement qui correspond bien à la vision de au-delà de 2020 et aux efforts du gouvernement du Canada en faveur de l'intégration. Music, please.
Like a waving flag, get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag, now wave your flag, now wave your flag. Oh.
So the next big song award is being awarded to the Government Games, the Public Service Commission's Emerging Leaders Network, with special mention to Fisheries and Oceans Canada, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, Canada Border Services Agency, and Innovation, Science and Economic Development's YPN networks.
This year, a team of 8 individuals organized an initiative that was well aligned with Beyond 2020's vision and the Government Canada's push for integration. This event was the first ever Government Games, with a large-scale interdepartmental competition bringing together diverse young professionals in the federal public service to develop solutions for the public service-wide issues in the scope of Beyond 2020's visions and the government's Canada's push for integration. In short, 4 departments sent 3 teams of young professionals. Each sent 3 teams, which each focused on a horizontal problem lien entre l'esprit d'innovation et collaboration pour lors de l'élaboration de solutions viables et difficiles à la connexion à chacun des périodes au-delà de 2020. Il s'agissait également d'une occasion en travailler et réseau avec des pairs, en train de parler de le même enjeu de l'autre ministre, d'échanger avec les sous-ministres. Cet événement a également amené les participants à s'organiser à travailler efficacement en équipe dans un environnement dans les délais raisonnables et devenir ainsi des jeunes ambassadeurs au-delà de 2020. All right, next award.
I think we were having a little bit of connection issues there, so apologies if anyone got cut off. So the next award is our Woodstock Award. This award recognizes a team that pulled off a large-scale event or initiative through its collaborative efforts and excellent teamwork. Prix Woodstock reconnaît une équipe qui a organisé un événement ou une initiative de grandeur grâce à ses efforts de collaboration et à son excellent travail d'équipe.
Can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2.
So the Woodstock Award is being awarded to TEDx Shared Services Canada Women's Event Agora Network. Le prix Woodstock, l'événement TEDx du Service Partagé Canada Réseau Agora. Congratulations. Félicitations.
Throughout their commitment to Agora's motto of involved, inclusive, and innovative, Agora has nominated the team of core volunteers that organized and ran the TEDx SSC Women event. Bold and Brilliant was the title. This event was held in December 2019. It was led by Christina Sear, Ikram Handul, and Sean Smith, with support from their team of dedicated employees. This team undertook the immense task of hosting the first official TEDx event for the Government of Canada. Congratulations. Throughout their tireless commitment to the areas of focus of Beyond 2020, Agile, Inclusive, and Equipped, Christina, Ikram, and Sean successfully led the organizing, planning, and running of this event. Quand un conférencier a dû se désister juste avant l'événement, ils ont fait preuve d'agilité et de persévérance sans parler et lui trouvant rapidement un remplacement. En raison des restrictions imposées par TED, l'équipe a conçu l'événement de manière à ce qu'il soit, pour ainsi dire, accessible à tous les employés de SPC. Ils ont également créé un environnement inclusif dans lequel les conférenciers pouvaient partager leur histoire. Congratulations.
The next award is the Electronic Dance Music Award. Recognize an individual who is able to overcome a challenge with unexpected, unique, or innovative solutions, or individuals. Prix musique de danse électronique reconnaît une personne qui a su surmonter un défi avec des solutions inattendues, uniques ou innovantes. Excusez. Et music, please.
So the Electronic Dance Music Award is being awarded to Soirée Function, Treasury Board Secretariat, co-chairs Chloé Bois and Claudia Marrero. Le prix musique de danse électronique Soirée Function, le secrétariat du Conseil du Trésor du Canada, co-présidente Chloé Bois and Claudia Marrero. Congratulations et félicitations.
La soirée fonction est une traduction que les fonctionnaires attendent avec impatience chaque année et qui a permis de verser plus de 85 milliards à la CCMTG-TGC. Cette année, son sort était par exception incertain en raison de la COVID-19. As co-chairs, Cleo and Claudia faced adversity from the get-go to cancel this year's event or take on the challenge by finding an innovative way to fulfill the initiative's mandate. Judging by this year's success, they went straight for the win by organizing a series of virtual events that kept employees from across the GOC connected, moving, and entertained, while giving back and encouraging local and small businesses. I want to thank you both for your efforts and congratulate you. The next award is the Guest Performer. It recognizes a functional community that has been consistently active in the NCR, National Capital Region, and strives to push the envelope. Le prix d'artiste invité reconnaît une communauté fonctionnelle qui a toujours été active dans la région de la capitale nationale et qui s'efforce de repousser les limites. And music, please.
This wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? I saw us disregard.
So the Guest Performer Award is being awarded to Fisheries and Oceans Canada, Megan O'Toole and Jody Hoffert for the Positive Space Initiative. Le prix d'artiste invité est Megan O'Toole et Jody Hoffert, Pêche et Océan Canada pour l'initiative Espace Positif. Félicitations.
Megan O'Toole and Jody Hoffert were responsible for launching and leading the Positive Space Initiative at DFO's Coast Guard since its inception in 2017, has been instrumental in bringing inclusivity to DFO through coordinating, organizing, and representing public's Positive Space Initiative at DFO. Her thoughtful nature and incredible capacity for conducting created a symphony of more than 50 people who are advancing attitudes and making the workplace harmonious. The song is about caring, and like Meg, is very inspiring to those. Popularity in the song is growing as the symphony's audience gets bigger and sings aloud. Même dans les conditions imposées par le travail à la distance, Megan a adapté son approche pour poursuivre l'important travail de l'ISP. Elle a notamment organisé des événements virtuels et créé un canal MS Teams spécialisé ainsi d'une boîte de réception d'ISP générique. Les idées que Megan a échangées avec le groupe de travail national sur la diversité et l'inclusion ont également été inestimables. Merci beaucoup, Megan. Merci beaucoup, Megan et Jody.
Now it's time for our last award, the Legend Award. This award recognizes the continuous and unstoppable contributions of a former YPN committee member who continues to advocate for young professionals. Prix Légende reconnaît les contributions continues et incomparables d'un ancien membre du comité du réseau des jeunes professionnels qui continue à défendre les intérêts des jeunes professionnels.
Cue music.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Woo, child, tired of the bullshit. Gone, dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new shit in there. Swimwear, going to the pool.
So the Legend Award is being awarded to Jessica Vies, Public Services and Procurement Canada, who is also the previous NCR YPN co-chair. Le prix Légende Jessica Vies for Services Publics et Approvisionnement Canada, ancienne présidente de la RJP RCN. Congratulations et félicitations.
Jess is the previous NCR YPN co-chair, as many of you know her for, starting in October 2015, who continues to strive and push the envelope and to support young professionals across government up until today. She is an experienced project leader with strong communication and engagement skills, which clearly shows throughout her work. She also has extensive experience in event planning and is a natural leader, which is why her strengths continue to support the NCR YPN priorities. Jess continues to support the network through event design and facilitation of events, such as a recent Positive Space webcast, thanks to her passion for public speaking. Jess continue d'être un allié au service de divers réseaux et priorités interministériels, diversité et inclusion, l'initiative espace positif, take me with you, amenez-moi avec vous, leaders GC, etc. Jess continue de veiller à ce que nous soyons en contact avec les contacts importants et les principaux acteurs dans l'ensemble du gouvernement, qu'elle fait toujours en sorte de nous présenter les personnes et les dirigeants importants qui pourraient rendre possible la collaboration avec le réseau de jeunes professionnels. One of her latest suggestions is to create a position through the Free Agents program that would support each department's YPN network to ensure they can operate at full capacity and have the necessary resources available to do so. Thanks again, Jess, for your continued support and for always thinking about the NCR YPN in everything you do. Congratulations. Okay, so we'll take this time to give another big virtual round of applause to everyone. It feels awkward that we can't be here in person, but I'm loving all the comments that we have on the chat, which is such a supportive network and so much love. It's really nice to see. Congratulations again to everyone and cheers. Another reminder, after tonight's event, please remember to share your selfie pictures with us so that we can post on our social media pages and in upcoming newsletters and so on. So tag us using the hashtag CAESAC2020. You can also feel free to email them to us at our YPN email address, ncrypn_RJPLCN@gmail.com. Kelly will now turn the floor back to you for our closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine, and thank you, Cameron, for great emceeing and organizing for this year's event. And thank you, everybody, for joining the Champions Appreciation event. And congratulations not only to the winners, but all of the nominations and everyone who's made this year, such a successful year, given all of the challenges that we're facing, and reorganizing even for the event to be a virtual, opportunity for us to show our appreciation and the difference that people are making. Votre dévouement et votre leadership sont exactement ce dont la fonction publique a besoin, non seulement pour aider notre pays à surmonter la pandémie, mais aussi pour continuer d'attendre d'excellence et obtenir des résultats pour les Canadiens. Seeing tonight the talented young professionals who are no doubt going to be part of Canada's future leadership, I want to thank you. And we know, as senior leaders now, we're in good hands for the future. And I look forward to seeing kind of what new, innovative, and creative initiatives are on the horizon and coming from you as young professionals, and exploring how we can take your ideas and improve the way that we work. Tim gave us some great insights tonight, and fantastic conversation and questions. So I look forward to how we can put that into action, because I too don't want to fall back into old habits. And so how do we take from what we've learned to be agile and learn and grow and continue to evolve? Anyways, with all of that, je merci beaucoup. Please, I hope you enjoyed this evening. Have a safe and healthy upcoming holiday season. Et merci beaucoup. C'est la fin de la soirée. Merci.
And I believe that's a wrap, folks. If anyone has, thanks everyone for attending. I am unfortunately disconnected in that last few minutes, but you've got it for the end of Kelly's speech, which was quite well received. I just want to give a big round of applause just for all the winners and nominees this evening who worked extraordinarily hard for the work that they've done, and we just want to continue to recognize how hard they work and appreciate all the efforts they do for young professionals in the public service. Justine, I believe that's over to you.
No, nothing else to say. I just want to say congratulations again, and thanks to everyone for coming. We had a great turnout. Awesome to see all the support, all the love that we're getting in the chat. Congratulations to everyone. It's really well deserved. Cheers.